Hi there, and today the day has finally come, which I've been waiting for over a year. I've got my existing display of 12 coloured spacemen, even though one of them's got the wrong shaped helmet and the wrong coloured air tanks. I've got this new set, which is Matteo's spray paint truck, which gives me the missing dark blue air tanks and helmet. I've got this box, which has just arrived in the post, which contains the new minifigure vending machine, which will give me the new dark turquoise and the new pearl gold spacemen. And I've got Mr. Oz from the Lego store Builder minifig tower, which means by the end of this video I will no longer have 12 different colours of classic spacemen, but I'll have increased it to 15. But just before we get building, as always, a quick shout out to all my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I wouldn't be able to do all the things that I do without your help. And if you'd like to support the channel and maybe get your name on one of these bricks, you can click on the join button below this video and find out all the details. But now let's get adding spacemen. And our first job is to open up that new dream set and give our dark blue spaceman his upgrade. But unfortunately, due to Lego's new environmentally friendly but ever so slightly annoying paper bags, I have no idea which one of these bags those air tanks and helmet are in. However, even though I don't actually like the colour green, I really do like these luminous green tyres. But with a little bit of quick thinking, I can see that those parts come in bag 9 as shown on page 156 of the instructions. But weirdly, there seems to be a mistake in the instructions, because also on page 210 it shows you to make it again. And for a brief moment I did get quite excited thinking we were actually going to get 2 of each of these, but checking the inventory, no, we only get 1. However, I've never bought a Lego Dream set before, and I do kind of like the way we've got these coloured pages throughout the instruction booklet. It's also really quite cool that they intersperse the instructions with these cartoon images of the set. But lastly, before I open up bag 9, I also really like these metallic stickers in the set. But here's bag 9, so let's open it up and get those dark blue parts. So this figure is actually Albert, who is Mr. Oz's pet monkey. And there we can see his body with the classic space logo on, and there's his head, so we'll pop that on first. Oh no, we need his air tanks before that, don't we? Take his head off. Those beautiful dark blue air tanks we've been waiting for since last September. Here's his head, double-sided head. Let's put his that way around, and then of course the all-important helmet. So there we have our dark blue air tanks and classic space helmet. So let's pop them onto our spaceman. So here's our dark blue spaceman. Very sad because obviously his air tanks aren't the right colour and his helmet isn't the right shape. But let's pop those off, take off those air tanks. Poor old Albert only just got these. We're going to take his helmet and air tanks off too, swap them onto him. Classic head on, classic helmet on, and there, behold, we have a dark blue classic spaceman, and doesn't he look good? So our next job is to make as much of a light blue spaceman as we can. Now, like I said, the light blue classic space torso is coming with Mr. Oz on the Builder minifig tower, but we've got a couple of spares, and minifig Daisy, my daughter, made up this one with this cool, weird unicorn head. So we're going to pop the head off. And first of all, we need to get some hands in the right colour. So let's take those off. 1 and 2. And the best place to get them from is from the original minifigure from the Everyone is Awesome set. So I'm going to pop his light blue hands off. I'm going to give them to our classic spaceman. And that's the hand sorted. But of course, we need a classic smiley face. So let's pop one of those on too. Now, like I said, we don't have air tanks or a helmet in this colour at all. So easiest thing to do, because he's 1980s, classic space, we could give him a classic 1980s hairpiece and he could just be ground crew. But there are actually 6 headpieces that Lego make in light blue, and there is one which looks almost like a classic spaceman helmet. And here we are, our classic light blue spaceman with a sort of classic light blue space helmet. The only problem is it came from a Batman Easter Bunny figure, so he does have huge bunny ears. So let's keep him like that for now. So now we've got our 12 different colours of spaceman, with our dark blue having his upgrade, and we've also got our new light blue. And actually a few people have commented that the light blue colour is kind of reminiscent of pyjamas, so maybe the bunny ears are appropriate after all. But the next thing to do is obviously open up that minifig vending machine and crack out those 2 new colours. And I'm really liking these new ideas boxes where you just cut a few sellotape tabs and you can lift the lid off rather than having to rip the box open down the side like you do with most sets. So first thing to do, find the instruction book, go through it and find out which one of these bags has some classic spacemen in it. And you can see we get the first turquoise spaceman in bag 2, we get the first gold spaceman in bag 4, the second turquoise one comes in bag 8, and the second gold one in bag 10. Now 8 and 4 are pretty big bags, whereas 10 and 2 are slightly smaller with less pieces in, so these are the two we're going to open up. And sure enough, we can see some dark turquoise pieces there, so there's his legs. We'll get his torso with that beautiful printed logo on it. Of course, the right coloured hands, and then a classic smiley face. Is it that one? Nope, that's the other figure. Must be this one. Yes, there's... Oh, air tanks, of course. There's the air tanks. There they are. Pop his head back off. Air tanks on. Classic smiley face. And then... classic helmet. And there's another colour of spaceman in dark turquoise. And then the one that I personally voted for way back in last June, and the one we've got in this bag, which is the pearl gold spaceman. So let's go searching for those lovely gold pieces. There's his legs, there's his torso, like that, looking great. Now air tanks, there they are. Head. Oh, yeah, no, that's our classic smiley head. Where's the helmet there? Don't say I'm missing a classic space helmet. Doesn't seem to be here. It could be in the small 10 bag. Let's open that one up as well. And there it is, yes. Phew. A little bit worried for a split second there, but we've got our pearl gold spaceman, air tanks, helmet and all looking good. So let's line all those up together. So after usually having to wait an absolute age before we get a new coloured spaceman, in one day we've completed the dark blue, we've started a light blue, and we've got two brand new ones, pearl gold and dark turquoise. And they all look absolutely great, and now we need to add them to the other 11. Now the dark blue spaceman obviously already has his position, so we don't need to worry about him, but adding 3 more spacemen to this display, they all take up 2 studs in width, so we've got to add 6 studs in width to this display, and also they take up 1 stud in depth, so we're going to have to add 3 studs into its depth. Where they're going to be dotted around within here, so we're going to probably, best thing to do is to remove absolutely everything, take off all the tiles, and then start building it up from the white base. So I've taken the back wall off and all our little space guys. The next thing to do is strip off all these tiles and the few plates. And while I'm doing that, just one little handy hint that some people might not know. Obviously a brick separator is really useful for popping off tiles like this. However, most people use it this way up, like that, doing a row of tiles. However, if you turn it the other way up, it's much easier to just run along the line and they all come up in one go. So now I've got spacemen, coloured wall, huge bucket of coloured tiles, and the base of the set all completely clear. I've also got a large bag of white plates of all different shapes and sizes, so now we need to extend this to make our larger base and start adding tiles back onto it. Now the original Everyone Is Awesome set had this 16x16 plate with this 6x16 next door to it. Now when we added our dark blue spaceman to that, I changed that for an 8x16 to go on the side and I added a row of 1x plate at the back of it just to give it 1 more depth. So like I said, for 3 more spacemen we need to add 6 to the side and 3 to the depth. That's really easy. We're going to remove that 1 so we can add 4 to the depth, and then this 6x16 can go back on this end. And then for those 4 extra studs at the back, I've got 2 4x12s. So they can go there, and then a 4x6 to go in the middle. And this will be the size of our new base. And when you compare that with the size of the original set, if we place that just on the corner there, you can see it's starting to get quite considerably bigger. And then to hold that all together, underneath I've put 2 stud width plates all the way around the edge. However, that 16x16 in the middle is still a bit flimsy, so I'm going to add some more 2x width plates along this join line here and down these 2 sides here, and that'll make it more sturdy. So just adding a couple of 2x12s at the top and 2 2x8s on the sides, that's now completely stable and time to add some tiles. Now in my previous video on this, I did say that I was going to put the gold spaceman either between the yellow and the orange or the orange and red, and I asked for your comments about where do you think he should go. But as so many people pointed out in the comments, the pearl gold colour isn't really the same finish as the regular colours, so maybe he shouldn't be in with the regular colours himself. So after lots and lots of suggestions, I've gone with the most popular one, which seems to be put him at the start before the white. Then we're going to carry along with the grey, black, brown, red, orange, yellow and green, and we're going to insert our dark turquoise and our light blue in between there and the blue. Then we're going to carry on and finish it off with blue, dark blue, purple and pink. So I've got my bucket of tiles which I removed, I've got a couple of bags of new tiles which I've bought, and now we need to stick them all onto this base plate. And you may have noticed now I got completely carried away with myself, went straight on from the green to the blue when I suddenly remembered we need to put in on 2 new colours here. So first of all, you may notice also here I've got my dark turquoise, my dark azure pieces, and that's when I thought the new Spaceman was going to be the dark azure colour, but obviously not. It turned out to be the dark turquoise. So that's what we're going to add now. And here we have the completed base with all our tiles and our 1x2 plates ready for our spacemen to stand on. Now I know in the comments below there is going to be huge debate and a million suggestions on what order these should actually be in, and that you would prefer them in a specific different order. And I know a lot of people like the order that the original set came in. However, I have to say I did 2 years at art college and 25 years in the design industry, and my brain only really works in colour spectrum order, which is why I've decided to do it in this order. And a lot of people probably know the rhyme that helps you remember the rainbow order, which was Richard of York gave battle in vain, and that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So there are main colours in here. We haven't got indigo and violet, we've only got the purple, but obviously we've got our blue and we've got a lighter shade and a darker shade, and the lighter shade going through to the bluey green and then into the green, and then a lighter shade of the purple obviously goes into the pink. Up the other end, the darker version of red goes to brown, and then getting even darker we've got black, and then from black I've gone monochrome, so black, grey, white, and obviously we said the pearl's a different colour, so we start off with that colour up this end. So that's the order I'm going to go with. You can comment down below if you have better suggestions, but I'm not saying I'm going to take those comments on board this time. I often take people's comments on board, but I like the order of this as it is. I've got the original set, and like I said, I'm always keeping that set in the original order that was made in, but Spacemen a little bit different, and this is the order I'm going with for now. Which next brings us onto the wall at the back. Now obviously I've got all these original colours which can go on their relative stripes. I've also got the original bricks from the original set from when we had the light blue in it, so that's easy to make that stripe too. Our first new stripe of the dark turquoise also has that brick in that colour, so we can do the curve at the top easily. However, Lego don't make the 2x3 brick in dark turquoise, so I'm going to have to use a lot more of 1x2s and 2x2s instead, just to bridge those gaps. The big problem we have is when we get to the gold stripe. Now Lego don't make hardly any bricks in the pearl gold colour. They do make the 2x2 brick, but they don't make the 2x3 or even a 1x2 to turn this into a 2x3. So the best part that I could find to join with the 2x2 bricks to make it 3 studs deep was this, which is 1x1 by 5. So we're going to use some of those in the build, and then when we get up to the top we're going to have to resort to plates after that. So I'm going to build all the stripes from pink down to white in time lapse, and then I'm going to come back to you and we'll build the gold stripe together in real time. there's our completed wall of all the regular colours, and we just need to work on the gold at the end. So from the front, I want this to look as similar as possible to all the other rows. So I'm going to do that by using all the 2x2s at the front. If I used the 1x1x5s, it would look very different and we wouldn't have a break every row all the way up. But if I do the 2x2s at the front and then sort of kind of bodge the back with these and some plates, hopefully from the front it'll look the best and people won't generally be looking at it from behind. So first of all, stack a 2x2s all the way up. Here's where I hope I bought enough of them. I'm sure I did. And there we go, all the way up to the top where we start that curve. And then behind that, I'm going to put in those 1x1x5s. And then we don't have anything else that we can put here apart from a very large bag of 1x2 plates. So here I've got a huge stack of 9 1x2s, and if we put that on top here, we're now level with where we start curving up, and that's where we've got a decision to make about which pieces we're going to use. Now our first option is to use this curved brick. When we place that on top, you can see it's exactly the same curve as the other pieces. However, we end up with these 2 studs on top. So it's perfect in the curve, but however, not quite so pretty on top. Now our next option is to use another curved brick. It doesn't go all the way back like the others. We'd have to brick build up behind it and put a tile on top. Also, it's not 2 bricks high, it's 2 2/3, so we'd need to put some plates underneath it, but we can put those on and see what they look like. So first of all, we're going to add some plates on the bottom like that. Then I'm going to stick a 2x2 brick behind, then put on our new curved bricks like that, and because they're not quite so tall, a plate and a tile, and it looks pretty perfect. However, it may look pretty perfect, but it actually isn't perfect. If we zoom in like this, and I can go a little bit closer hopefully, you can see that even though the front of the slope is flat and the top is, there is a slight ridge there. This curve isn't exactly the same curve as all the other pieces. It is very minor, and you can only see it when you're looking in sort of this great detail. So the options are making it beautifully smooth without studs on top and have this ever so slight defect in the ridge that the curve doesn't quite match up, or we have the curve matching up exactly, but we end up with 2 studs on top. And after building both of them, I personally think that this option is better than this option. Here, those 2 gold studs really do stick out. I could make a feature of them and add something on top of them. However, I do really like the clean look of that curve. So swapping back to the smooth bricks without the studs, but not quite the right curve, I think this is the best option. Unless you look extremely closely, you don't notice that the curve isn't exactly the same. And if I take it to any more Lego shows, I'm sure people will be generally looking at the spacemen and not the curved bricks behind them. So for the very first time, every spaceman is awesome, new, upgraded with 15 colours. I haven't actually seen anyone else on YouTube yet manage to do this, so I may be the first. Let me know if you've seen someone else in the comments below. We've got pink, purple, then there's dark blue with his new helmet and his air tanks. Goes there, and then we've got blue, our brand new light blue with his bunny ears, and then also brand new dark turquoise. And then green, he got his helmet upgrade a couple of years ago. One of the 1980s colour yellow. Orange originally came in that minifigure book. This red one, he's an original 1979 one. Some people comment why his logo looks slightly different. It's because he's 45 years old. So let's pop him there. Brown came with the Space Baby and the collectible minifigures. Black, and again, another original one from the 80s. Light grey, pieced together from the Rocket Boy minifigure. White, again, another one of the original 2 colours, the white and the red. And then lastly, here we go, gold. And 15 times every spaceman is awesome. And without the spacemen on it, when it's just a plain base, I wasn't totally taken by the colours over here, but actually now the spacemen are put on it, that looks really good. So I started this display 2.5 years ago, back in January 2023. And back then we obviously only had the 11 minifigures, and the green guy and the grey guy had the wrong shaped helmet. But since then I got hold of a grey 1979 helmet from one of the castle sets, so he got his helmet upgrade, and then also the green guy from the exosuit set. That green helmet came in the Monkey Kid set last year, so he got his upgrade there as well. Then obviously today blue guy, he's got his helmet and his air tanks in his correct colour. And we've added our light blue, our dark turquoise and our gold. And until I can come up with a better option, I think I'm going to keep hold of his light blue bunny ears. So as always, please do leave your comments below. Please don't be offended if I don't reply to you. I do read every single comment, and if I have read your comment, I'll at least give it a heart if I don't manage to reply. But please let me know if you've seen anyone else on YouTube manage to get the whole 15 set. 2.5 years ago when I did the original 11, I still think I was the first person in YouTube to do the whole set. But again, if you know of someone who'd managed to do it earlier than me, please do let me know. I'm happy to take on your comments about anything to do with this display. However, I don't think I'm going to be going back to the gold brick with a stud on top, and I don't think you're going to be able to persuade me to change the order of all these colours. But of course, if you've liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to support the channel and you're buying something from Lego.com, please do use my affiliate link in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything more, but Lego do give me a slight commission for every purchase people make. If you'd like to become a member and maybe get your name on a brick, you can click on the join button below and that'll give you all the details. But if you're watching this and you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe for more Lego videos. So I started this display 2.5 years ago back in... Wait for the motorbike to go by.